I got this lovely Egyptian motif cloth at a thrift store and thought I would use it to make a lovely dress and to test out what I've learned about French seams, which seems to be a very good technique for using sheerer fabrics or not as thick a fabric. So this will be my project for this video. Another step you need to think of first is make sure that you have the length you want for the dress. Cut that out, then match it up the same place on the secondary piece of cloth, and then you'll have them both matching up the designs as well. Before you begin the pinning and the cutting, make sure that you have two pieces cut in the length that you want so that you can add them together. You'll need two pieces because you'll need a front and a back. So if you match them up at the top, say for example, then you get the same pattern all the way through both sides. So once you put the two pieces together and they're about the same length, and you have the top portion started up, then you can make the casing for the ribbon or thread or lacing or whatever it is you put through the neckline. And then it's just a really simple matter of sewing things together so that they make a full dress. So I've got to start with the casing. So pinned under the casing so that I can put some ribbon or some kind of cloth through in order to tie up the neck edges. I've done this on both sides. Now I've got to sew it down so that it's quite close to the hemline, and as you can see, I used one of the features of the cloth to make a nice straight line for the casing. Okay, the casing is now sewn on the back end so that it could be as close to the hem as possible, and it's sewn on both pieces. And now I'm making the ribbon for through the casing, and as you can see, I sewed both sides, and you sew one end and then you just make sure you can get it all pulled in through, and once it's all in through, you pull it through the other side and you got yourself a lace or a trim for your dress. Okay, so I've already gotten it through to the other end. You just pull it when you've gotten to the other end, and then you just straighten out your ends and sew the open end closed, and you've got yourself a lovely ribbon to go through the neckline so that you have your lovely halter neckline. Once you get the casing in, then you pull the ribbon you've gotten ready or whatever it is you decide to use, you pull it all the way through both sides. Then you try on the dress and decide where you want your armholes. I've already done that. And I'm putting the armholes around there and then sewing down the two hems. I'm going to try a French seam, which I've seen in other videos. And what you do is you put the wrong sides together and you sew down as close to the end of the cloth as you can get it. And then you turn it wrong side out and sew in your actual seam. So I'm going to try that. It's something new. It's usually used for sheer cloth, but I thought this would save me some zigzagging and stuff, so I'd give it a try. As you can see with the French seam, putting the small seam on the outside, doing it as close to the edge as you can, and then doing a regular seam on the inside, you don't end up with a lot of zigzag or hanging threads or things. So it makes it neater looking on the inside, but you couldn't use it on really heavy cloth. So I've hemmed the bottom, and I've left a little bit open on the sides at the bottom. Okay, so I hemmed up the bottom of the dress, and I just left a little bit of space in here, just a little opening just for looks, and I cinched in the waist so that it adds some dimension to it, and that pretty much is the dress. It's a very simple pattern. It makes a very comfortable, summery, light dress. A few thoughts about this dress. If you like the style but you're not big on sewing, you could also do the same thing with curtains, using the curtain casing as the casing to put the neckline. And if you got the right size curtains, you really wouldn't have to hem it that much. And you can get curtains at thrift stores. The whole dress itself probably cost no more than $5 to make, as I got the cloth at a thrift store. Hemming, I just used the features. As you can see, there's straight lines around with the Egyptian designs on it. And the hieroglyphs, I use that to do the hemming. I use that to do the neckline, so that everything ends up being quite nice and straight. And one last idea for this dress is that if you didn't want to sew something for the neckline, then you could actually just put through a scarf and tie it off, and you'd have a perfectly fine skirt or dress or top, depending on how long you make it.